So I'm going to say it for you again.
What's going on, guys? Back with Darren with another video of cryptocracy. If you guys enjoy these videos, make sure you smash that like, but we're going to try to earn your guys' subscription. What do we got for him today, Darren?
I think you're going to start out. You got a little bit of news.
I
We
got
got
a
a
little
dose
bit of
of
news.
controversy,
I got a little bit of
and we
news
got a gem or two at the end.
and a gem or two at the end.
That's,
Stay tuned at the end, guys, if you want to see the amazing crypto gem I'm going to give you. Also, we noticed that like 70% of you guys are not subscribed, so make sure you hit that subscribe button if you guys want to see more amazing crypto content. And let's jump into it. So, first things first, we have Darren, you see my screen?
I do, sir.
All right. We have US institutions account for 85% of Bitcoin buying and is a very positive sign. Matrix Port. This is from Cointelegraph today, January 27th, 2023. Matrix Port's head of research and strategy suggests the industry will soon see Layer 1 and other altcoins outperforming relative to Bitcoin. But that's not really what we're interested in.
No.
Institutional investors are not giving up on crypto, with recent data pointing to as much as 85% of Bitcoin buying being the result of American institutional players, according to Matrix Port's chief strategist, Marcus Thielen, the head of research and strategy at the financial services firm, told Telegraph the evidence shows that institutions are not giving up on crypto, and it is an indicator that we might be entering a new crypto bull market now. The data was shared on January 27th today, a report from Matrixport, which suggests that it can be distinguished whether a digital asset is more favorable by retail or institutional investors at a given time based on whether that asset is performing well in the United States or Asian trading hours. The report stated that if an asset that trades 24 hours performs well during US trading hours, it indicates that US institutions are buying it, while an asset that sees growth during Asian trading hours indicates that Asian retail investors are buying it. The report cited that Bitcoin, $23,037, is up 40% this year, with 35% of those returns occurring during US trading hours, meaning there is an 85% contribution associated with US-based investors, indicating that US institutions are buyers of Bitcoin right now.
So who wrote this article? Let's give him a shout out because he
Yeah.
basically are relying pretty heavily on it or her.
Uh, I don't know how to say this. Syrian Lions, Quran. I guess you can call them Quran Lions. Thank you for the article.
Sierran
Sierran. Okay.
Lions
Lions.
or
There you go.
Lyon.
Thank you,
Um,
Darren. It says Thielen added that the previous data shows that institutions typically first start buying Bitcoin before investing in other cryptocurrencies.
we know this.
Yeah.
We know
So
this.
if history is any guide, then we should see the outperformance of layer one and altcoins relative to Bitcoin. Um, I agree with that. Once they buy Bitcoin, then they realize that, it's safe to buy other cryptos and that they might make
They're
more.
also farther down. They're also farther down.
Yeah.
All and that's why they're saying layer ones and altcoins is because those were the ones that were really pumped up in 2020, in early 2022 and late 2021.
Hmm.
But we're also going to see NFT projects pump. We're going to see GameFi pump. We're going to see a lot more pump than
Yeah.
just layer ones.
Dexes. Yep.
DEXs,
Yep.
layer
Um,
threes.
layer zeros. There's going to be everything, man. Well, okay, so it says while the report highlighted that crypto news or that news regarding other projects positively impacted the token prices, such as Lido DAO and Aptos, the crypto rally only started once the US inflation data was released on January 12th. It was also mentioned that Ether appears to be out appears to be performing well during US hours, indicating institutional flows into the cryptocurrency. However, Apt is doing well around the clock. Aptos is seeing a mix of strong returns during US trading hours and during Asian trading hours. Um, so what do you think, Darren?
This is a major story in the sense that you want to see the institutional investors flowing back into Bitcoin and Ether. Remember that Ether and Bitcoin, but especially Bitcoin, are privileged under the U.S. regulatory regime. It's very clear what they are. They're both commodities. Now, Gensler has kind of waffled a little bit, but I don't think they're going to peel back Ethereum's qualification as a commodity. It's not a security. It's had that
Right.
negotiation.
Okay. I found this on the web for if there is qualification as a commodity. Check it out.
Shut up, Siri.
Oh my God.
Shut. So I don't need help. So Siri. Sorry, Siri. I didn't mean to bark at you like that, Siri. I know that sometimes
if you say her name again, she's gonna pop up.
I'm trying to get her, but I'm trying to show that she's inconsistent because I've said her name a couple times.
Yeah. It's when you don't say her name, it pops up. But go ahead.
We know that, and we're going to talk about the regulatory environment a little bit during the dose of controversy. There's actually a lot going on, but you would expect institutions to flow into Bitcoin and Ethereum because they're safe, and that'll raise the temperature for speculation as usual. And everything is depressed. Everything is down much more than Bitcoin or Ethereum. So of course they're going to have bigger gains.
Right.
It doesn't mean that you shouldn't be buying Bitcoin or Ether right now.
Yeah. Well, I think this is really important right here. Meanwhile, the popular trader and market commentator TechDev posted a Twitter update on January 26th showing the price correlation between Bitcoin and gold, stating that if Bitcoin continues to follow the price of gold, it might even crack the $50,000 mark. That's
worth an entire analysis on its own, and we'll return to that, I think, because that's actually very interesting.
Yeah, so that's what I got for today, guys. We've been waiting since 2012 for institutional investors to come into Bitcoin, right? Or 2009, I'm sorry, when Bitcoin started. And when I got into Bitcoin in 2019, that's all people were talking about is when institutions are going to get in and are they buying yet? And it was a no, because there wasn't any surety around Bitcoin. But now I guess they're buying. And also from the live liquidation, you can see that Bitcoin is getting a ton more million plus buys coming in than it was last year, 2 years ago, 3 years ago when I was watching the live buy and sells. You wouldn't see those kinds of numbers coming in. So.
All right. I'm going to want to share my screen here.
Oh yeah, let me.
So I want to talk today about a couple of things, but we're going to go into the U.S. regulatory environment a little bit. We need to talk about it. There's a couple of events. Let me just lay it out for you. The President Biden set out a statement regarding cryptocurrency and how he wants it to be regulated. This is an interesting timing because the new Congress has just arrived. They had a huge fight over who would be speaker, which was fun. And then now they're trying to get their business going. And one of the first orders of business President Biden said is let's come to some regulation for cryptocurrency. The other thing that's happening is the LBRY suit. That's LBC token.
LBRY token.
We're going to look at some of John Deaton's commentary, and we're going to explore a little bit about some of the legal issues at stake.
Wait, Darren, first, could you go over what LBRY is? Because I'm even confused on what exactly it is. If you have anything you can do. Because most people don't know about it.
All right. Well, I'm a little less. So I remember the LBRY is, I'm pulling it up because I'm drawing a blank here. LBRY credits here. What is it?
I know it's a fair blockchain of some sort, they're claiming. And so the question,
it's got something to do with information and the free flow information.
Okay, it's a blockchain, right? It's not just a cryptocurrency, it's a blockchain.
I'm not sure.
Okay. I'm sure if
There's a
people,
token. The token's been issued, and that's what I know.
okay. So we're basically talking about, is this crypto a security, and now it's in
What
legal.
LBRY, it says LBRY does to publishing what Bitcoin did to money.
Okay. Okay.
And it's about oh, okay. So it's a publishing project. It's supposed to compete with, was this for books?
News, maybe compete with news. Hmm.
News, books, publishing. This is the publishing project.
Okay. So it's like a decentralized
Um,
publishing type platform. I got you.
so their roadmap starts in 2020 Q1, and it goes into. It doesn't appear as their roadmap has been updated since 2020. Oh no, I'm sorry. They have no. It doesn't appear to be updated. Okay. Anyway, I'm a little bit less interested in what LBRY is because it doesn't matter so much. But let me share my screen here. Let me show you where I'm at conceptually. So here's the what. Let's start with this. The administration has issued a roadmap for cryptocurrency because it's concerned about risk. Okay, fair enough. I think there's a couple of things they could do. So they say they've set out a framework. I haven't looked at the framework yet. We might look at it later, but you can see they're worried about platforms and promoters. We're going to get back to that in a minute because the language of promoters is very important. Cryptocurrency platforms and promoters often mislead consumers, have conflicts of interest, fail to make adequate disclosures, or commit outright fraud. Okay, we've seen all this. We've seen all kinds of fraud. There's shady stuff. There's conflicts. There's the failure to make adequate disclosures presumes that they know what to disclose, which they don't. Uh, and is there misleading? Yeah, there's misleading advice all over the market. Okay, he's talking about enforcements. Well, how do you enforce how do you enforce things when there's no rules? One of the things that Congress could do today is they could say, we're gonna take the very simplest way that we regulate banks and ask centralized exchanges to do the same thing, which is to separate customer assets. All the things that I mentioned in the earlier video that was in the MAS proposal from Singapore, keep customer assets separate from the speculative assets and the assets of the exchange itself. That's really key. That needs to be in there. But there are other things that they can do and that they've talked about. I want to give Gary Gensler a little bit of credit because I'm going to talk very negatively about him in a minute. But in 2022, he was talking about taking aim at payment for order flow. Now, I've talked a little about this as well. This is Citadel. This is Robinhood. Citadel made like 30 billion. The big winner of the crypto bull run and resulting crash, right, was Citadel Securities. Citadel was using payment for order flow, and Gensler wants to basically ban it. He wants to make it so that you can't do that, and that any system that is going to auction off the trade of a trader before they trade, give that information to Citadel's, monumental AI API, like info tracker, big data machine. They're think Christopher Nolan's Batman and all the screens up and all the surveillance he had up. That when I think of Citadel, that's not going to be that he wanted to prohibit that. So he rattled financial firms when he talked about this the first time in 2021, and now Citadel Securities would not be able to build the tower that it's building. It's building a 50-story tower in New York because it's just such a super villain. It's just gonna where they're going to build a little citadel in Manhattan to celebrate their huge profits. But it could be an issue if the SEC bans this. I don't think it came around to banning it. I don't know. I don't know where it is, but I'm trying to give you. I'm trying to give you a sense of what they could do, and I'm going to show you what they're actually doing. So I'm going to come to John Deaton. Some of you may know John Deaton. This is his Twitter feed. John Deaton is I believe he was counsel for XRP for Ripple, but in any case, he's a very prominent cryptocurrency litigator from the side from the cryptocurrency side, not from the SEC side, from the compliance, not the regulatory side. And he's talking about Ripple. He's talking about LBRY because there's a case. There's LBRY is actively being litigated against, and you can see. I wanted to show you. They're going to have a hearing on the 30th, which I believe is Monday, right?
Yeah.
On Monday at 3 p.m. New Hampshire, so East Coast time, U.S. They're going to have a hearing in Concord, and that's something that's going to be paid attention to by the legal community in crypto. But I want to show you what John Deaton is saying about, and it gets really in depth. But what he's basically saying is they don't know what the rules are. There are no clear rules for these coins that don't want to be, that they say, well, we're not registered securities because we're not securities, and we don't agree with the Howey test applying to us, and we don't agree with your interpretation of the Howey test. So the SEC has to sue, right? Because a determination of whether or not an investment contract is what the project is. The project qualifies as an investment contract, determines whether or not it has to register. So LBRY has been going back and forth with the SEC for 5 years. This sounds right. Like if the SEC is going to sue you, it's going to cost a lot of money. So let's make a deal. Throughout the entire period, this is the head of LBRY talking, Jeremy Kaufman. Throughout the entire period, we begged them. We said we'll do anything, make any changes. Like there are other currencies like Ethereum, Bitcoin that have this non-securities designation. They were willing to overhaul their entire protocol to come into compliance. But there is no way to comply because the SEC regulates through enforcement, and they're dragging Gemini into the Gemini exchange into it, not because they didn't keep customer assets separate from their own cash pile, which they're speculating with, because they did, but because they offered like 4 or 5 or 6% interest on their earn program, which, as you know, is right now in Genesis's bankruptcy. So anyway, Jeremy Kaufman of LBRY explains, I'll destroy the entire pre-mine. I'll figure out a way to comply. We're going to change the whole protocol to comply. And I just want to know what the rules are. Tens of thousands of other companies just want to know the rules. It's okay if we lose. What we want is law. We want a clear law. We want the law because there is no law. The reason there's a Wild West is not because of the big, bad crypto companies. It's because the regulators and Congress and everybody haven't made clear. There's no clarity here on this statement from the administration. All right, so why? So this brings me to something that Gary Gensler was saying today. Says there are 3 ways to tell if a crypto project is a scam. Okay, great. Let's figure out what they are, because we want to be safe. We don't want to invest in scams. There's 3 telltale signs there's going to be a scam. Number 1, crypto project can't provide clear documentation regarding how it works or how it plans to deliver on its goal. If it's unclear and they've released a token, it might be a scam. Okay, fine. Number 3, I'm going to jump down to number 3. I didn't do number 2 yet. The project can't easily explain what it is at all. Well, that you know that. Like if it's obscenely complicated and they aren't making an effort to educate you, then you should probably be very wary and not invest. Because how are you going to understand it if they're not being clear?
I agree with that.
All right. Number 2, the project can't demonstrate that it's in regulatory compliance. Okay, Gary. The problem is that there's no way to come into regulatory compliance except submit to Gary Gensler's SEC jurisdiction by admitting you're a security. But you don't want to admit you're a security because being a security involves the Howey test. And here's the elements of the Howey test. Oh, that's not the elements. Here's the elements of the Howey test, which comes from a case from 1946 about an orange grove, investment contracts. Nonetheless, it's the famous standard. Okay, so the investment of money, expectation of profits from investment, common enterprise, and the profit comes from the efforts of a promoter or a third party. Well, if you, let's just skip the ICO or IDO for a minute, the release of the tokens, because that you could have a promoter there. You go to Gemini or Kraken or whatever, some exchange, or even better, you go to a DEX, you go to a decentralized exchange and you purchase a token. Where's the promoter? It's just a listed token. Who's telling you to buy it? Some guy on YouTube who says not financial advice? Are Sean and Darren promoters because we highlight Pangolin or Surge or whatever? No. So who's the promoter in the blockchain? Is it the validators? No. Is it the miners? Of course not. So this is the issue: is that this test doesn't even really apply very well to crypto. But this is where all the action is, and Gary is bringing these cases. 5 years later, you could see what LBRY was saying. It's been 5 years while they're begging for clarity. And I just want to give you a little bit more background on the Howey test. This is a Supreme Court case, company in Florida. They sold plots of lands with citrus groves, and then they let the buyers lease back the land to the company, and the company would cultivate the orange groves, sell the oranges, and then some of the profits would go back to the buyer. This isn't a classic investment contract. They didn't register, and they were sued. The SEC won. You should have registered as a security because that's what it is. And you can see that fourth prong, the efforts for profit from a third party promoter. You can see that very clearly in the cultivating of the orange groves was going back to the Howey company. All right. So let's go back to John Dean. John Dean is John Deaton. Sorry, John Deaton. I'm gonna let. Sorry, Sean. I'm almost done. I'm gonna let you jump in a minute.
Oh, you're good. You're doing good, man.
Okay. So he's quoting Bill Hinman, and he's saying the digital asset itself is simply cold, but the way it is sold as part of investment to non-users by promoters to develop the enterprise. In that context, most often is a security. And what John Deaton is saying is, well, where are the promoters? Who are the promoters when it comes to these crypto? And he's talking about Ripple and XRP, but he's asking in the context of LBRY, because that's what I'm concerned with today, is the hearings on Monday. The SEC concedes that the majority of LBC token holders are users. Users, by definition, don't have to register the security. That would be absurd. They're the ones we're trying to protect.
Right.
Okay. And if you're a user of a blockchain, are you relying on a third party for profits?
No.
Are you relying on the miners, on the ballot? No. So Congress really needs to act and bring some clarity. There's been a ton of senators. I'm not going to go through all the proposals that have developed a regime. But right now, there's no regime. So when Gary says it's a scam if the project can't demonstrate that it's in regulatory compliance, he is full of it.
I mean, you're starting to make sense of it here.
I am extremely angry about this state of affairs because it's just patently unfair. All due process is, all it is, at the very core of it, is notice and a hearing. Where's the notice? How do people know what the law is if they're not finding out until they get sued?
Right.
How do you come into compliance when it's unclear? So this whole phenomenon is what the lawyers mean in the space when they say regulation by enforcement. It means you only know after the fact whether or not it was legal or not.
Smoke screen. Smoke screen you.
So I think two of these are fine for figuring out the scam project. But basically, if this is a scam space, it's because all the governments are not putting down rules. I think the EU is slightly better than this, but still not great. And John Deaton, I think, breaks it down. It's a very very long thread. He's a lawyer and he's got lots to say, just like I had lots to say. But that's what I wanted to say. We'll come back to the LBRY case because it's very important. It's very important, and we'll come back to the administration's roadmap and all these issues. Let's stop sharing my screen. But if you made it through all that, you deserve a gem. Do we have a gem today?
Yeah, if you guys made it through that, we actually you got to make me the host. We have one crypto to show. I don't know if you have one too, Darren, to show the team.
Not today.
Okay, I got a good one.
I was too invested in that little rant.
No problem. Yeah, I got a pretty good crypto for you guys. And I think you guys will like this. So this is GALA Games Townstar. I'm gonna bring you guys into the game. This is like a Farmville. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but you might want to turn that volume down a little bit.
I don't know how, but basically,
look at that cheeky name.
Look at that. He's pulling the weed into the house. Boom. So this is Townstar, guys. You can build your own town, and I'm gonna show you guys the cryptocurrency now. Now I'm gonna show you the cryptocurrency. Sorry. I'm really sorry about that. I'm sorry about that music, but I don't know how to get it off. So Townstar. This is the best performing crypto of the day. I'm sorry. Town. No, this isn't it. Let me go to top gainers. It's not popping.
And Townstar, it's play to earn.
This is a play to earn game on GALA Games. It's made by the creator of Farmville. If you guys have ever heard of Farmville. And basically, this is what's really interesting to me. If you look at the max price of Farmville, the all-time price, I'm sorry. At one time, this went to $2.10 when GALA was pumping. But look where we're at now, guys. We're at 4 cents, up 55% today. And it's a really cool game, basically, guys. It's one of the coolest games I've seen that allows you to kind of like immerse yourself in this play to earn and earn some GALA tokens. So I'm interested in it because of the low price. And also I enjoy the game. I like the music and the vibe of the game. But you guys should check it out. It's ranked 839 market cap. Let's see where you can get it.
13 million.
13 million market cap. Yeah, but I mean it's ranked 849 on CoinGecko. Uniswap, you can get it. You can get it on CoinStore, LBank, CoinX, OKX, BitTrue, Hit BTC, Mexi Global. I would probably just go for Uniswap if it was me. We could check out the live chart and then
OKX is a great exchange.
OKX, I never use it, so I don't know.
It's good. Just don't touch the leverage.
Don't touch the leverage, guys. You heard
which is rules for life, not just that exchange.
So 7 minutes ago, you had someone buy $3,000 worth of town tokens, and they got 81,000 town. Here, I'm going to show you guys the live chart real quick, and then you guys are on your own where you can make the decision where if you think it's undervalued, you can go in. Or you could just play the game and try to earn some tokens. That's another way. But yeah,
You can
that's what
decide whether or not you're going to go to town.
exactly. Exactly. So let me stop sharing. That's the coin I got for you guys today. And I think we're
What do you
left
earn?
with,
What do you earn into? What do you earn into? What project?
I believe you earn town, but I think you can also earn Gala. I'm not sure. I was playing the game and I didn't get to earn any tokens yet. I was like farming a bunch of wheat and like planting all these cucumbers and crap. But I didn't get around to realize how you actually earn the tokens. So I can't tell you guys that. The only thing I could say is it was at $2.20 and now it's at 3 cents. So I don't know if we've seen a coin that's down that much from all-time high. Maybe the one token you said file coin. It's maybe the other one that's close to down that much.
Yeah,
Um,
Filecoin's down a bunch from all time high.
so yeah, at least 33x you got from 3 cents to get to a dollar. So that means you need another 66x to get back to all-time high. That's interesting, but I mean, what else you got for him today, Darren? I think we hit him good because you gave everybody a great explanation about LBRY and what's going on, and we mentioned the U.S. investors are starting to come into the Bitcoin
I
market.
can't, I can't, I can't give you any gems because according to Gary, it's a scam
There you
because
go.
it can't come into regulatory compliance. So they're all scam. I can't tell you, they're all scams. The only things that aren't scams are the ones that are getting institutional love right now, which is we talked about this top Bitcoin and Ethereum. And
What I would
apparently Aptos is just this strange outlier.
what I would like to know is how much are they hurting the U.S. economy from not allowing crypto to thrive? Do you think that? Do you have any insight on that?
I don't
Because
I don't know. I don't know that that's my first concern. The health of the U.S. economy as a whole.
like,
I think.
all right, can I give an example? It would be like if they said, um, we're going to shut down all the gold mines in Nevada or in the US, you know?
No, I understand. I understand because
Yeah.
there's no blanket ban. It's just uncertainty. So it's really hard to say. A lot of these projects are still going strong, and the regulatory regime is not up to suing everything in the entire space. They pick on projects like LBRY on Ripple, but
Maybe projects that are really going to make a big impact. Who knows? But I mean, I never really heard a lot. I heard a LBRY when they were going through the court case. Like I never, I saw them trending for a while on CoinGecko. So I guess they were getting a lot of attention.
well, I'm
Yeah.
glad you forced me. It was very painful, but you forced me. They're for publishing. They're the Bitcoin of publishing, is what they say.
Right.
So libraries are going to claim that they're trying to stifle freedom of speech. They're trying to stifle
Peer to peer.
making taking power out of the hands of the big publishing houses. And I don't know if that is one of the reasons why it was targeted. I sort of I sort of have no idea what's going on in depth, and I'll have to return to it. But I just wanted to tie that idea that like there's no way to stay safe under the current regime
Right.
because you there's no framework. Because if you're a coin, you don't want to expose your users, the people who are using the protocol, to some sort of registration that doesn't fit, and it may not even fit the entire protocol. I know a lot of projects are doing IDOs now, internet initial DEX offerings, so that they can get around this. There's no promoter if there's a DEX, right? Because if there's a centralized exchange, they got to get a lawyer light and all that stuff. Not that you wouldn't want to do that anyway, but it's really hard to say to sum up. But it's just a cloud of uncertainty, and for Gary Gensler to come in and say you need to make sure that they're regulatory compliant, you're going to miss great projects. You're only going to buy Bitcoin and ETH.
Yeah.
It's frustrating.
Well, it's a good argument. So anybody interested in following Darren on Twitter, his Twitter is D_Dappos, DAPPOS. You guys could follow my Twitter if you want, Shawnee Bitcoins. We'll be back with you
I want
guys
to mention
tomorrow.
one last thing
Go ahead.
because you reminded me. We have a new TapOS has a new pilot program with Pangolin, the project that I talked about a little bit over. You can. I'm just pulling up the address right now. You can access us at our link on Pangolin, which is https pangolin.dappos.finance/farms/all. You will have it's not going to have all the pangolin farms, but we have the avalanche one at the very least, and we'll be adding to that integration. But I'll put the address down in the YouTube link so you can look at it. But check out our portal.
Also, guys, after this YouTube video and after every YouTube video, we do a Twitter Spaces. So I'll leave the link to the Twitter Spaces in the description below. And we'll be right on there. Once you see this video is uploaded, we will be live on Spaces. So check us out. Make sure you support, smash that like, subscribe if you guys haven't, if we earned your subscription, and have a blessed day. Peace.